that was a lot quieter than I wanted it to be. Welcome one, welcome all, welcome to another exciting episode of Victory in the West. I am Bridger, and today we are, there we go, moving into the main event. There's our music, there we go. The main event here today is, perfect. Avalanche. The landings in mainland Sicily. The Germans were prepared and moved quickly to disarm the Italian surrendered forces and occupy most of the Italian mainland. The British 8th Army has crossed the Straits of Messina and has also landed troops by sea in Taranto. However, the main Allied effort is the naval landings near Salerno, Operation Avalanche. So the British 8th and the U.S. 5th are involved, and the U.S. 5th actually have a decent range here. They've also got the ability to use set-piece attacks. This is what we gave them last time. I think we upgraded their capacity to perform operations. And the British can build pontoon bridges if we want. So let's go see how this one works out. Now, I did get a request from somebody in one of the comments on the videos to talk about how the actual combat odds and shifts work. We'll go over that in a second. AFHQ dispatch. Your forces are split into 3 separate groups. The British 8th Army is advancing up through Calabria, while simultaneously landing forces in Taranto. And finally, the U.S. 5th Army is landing near Salerno. We had expected little opposition, but now reports indicate the Germans were prepared for this Italian surrender. Powerful enemy units might react to your landings near Salerno. So, we're going to get reinforcements from the 46th BR Infantry Division, British Infantry Division, 45th U.S. Infantry Division, 56th, yes, okay. Following units have been reconstituted after being destroyed in the previous battle. Yeah, I feel bad about that. The 5th British Infantry Division. All right. Yeah, we know how that works. So, this is a big map. Holy moly. This is so much bigger than the maps that we were... Remember I talked about the sense of scale? These are bigger than any of the maps that were on the Eastern Front. So let's talk briefly about how combat works once we actually get some combat so we can see how those things work together. But let's look at our objectives. The main objectives, Napoli and Foggia. So we want to advance up to this line if we can. However, we also have a bunch of turn 1 objectives. Our supply in the entire theater is only 60%. So even if we're well supplied by truck, we're still only going to get 60% supply until we start taking these supply areas that will increase our supply in the region. So that's one we have to take by turn 1. Another one we have to take by turn 1 is Crotone. Now that's going to get us a new specialist. And let me pull up the Twitch chat here. I just realized I couldn't see. Hello, D-Dubs. Yeah, these are big maps. And it looks like we also need to take this one by turn 1, but that only gives us prestige. These other ones give us prestige, and they give us good options. Now, aside from those 3 that we just saw, this one, and this one, we have another that we have to do by turn 2. So there's a lot of emphasis on this area here. And it looks like we're going to get 1 British, what is an ABM brigade? Armored battalion, maybe? I don't know. So that's interesting. How the hell are we supposed to take all 3 of these on turn 1? Or maybe we're supposed to choose. Because I saw that we had some reinforcements sitting off map a second ago over here. These were the landings. The British, it said the British had landings near Taranto. But I think those are just going to come in the form of reinforcements. What do we look at here? So that's going to be a supply center. We've got supply coming up from here. up both of these roads. And we do have some British, the 8th is pushing up the toe here. And then Salerno is going to be a supply source once we actually get there. This boat supply must be like a small supply area for the landings. Though I wish I knew a little bit more about how that worked. Maybe we'll be able to look it up in a second. So, we don't really have much to adjust. We have 3 trucks to put wherever we want. And we don't have any trucks yet at all on the map, as far as I can tell. Because this is the only possible supply areas we have. So we have no trucks. I feel like we're going to need one in Toronto, right? Can we put a truck in Toronto? If we don't put one here, you know what? We can wait, because the trucks can get placed during the turn. The prepare for battle section is very valuable for removing supplies without a penalty. You can move trucks around from one place to another. We can always add a truck later, and it takes effect immediately. Can we split the northern unit? These guys here, maybe? I don't know. We'll take a look in a second. But for right now, let's take a look. The only HQ that's already on the map is the British 8th, and I will move it as far forward as possible. So they need to get Crotone, but after that, they don't really need this rail line. I mean, they can still take it. Like, one unit can travel up this rail line and stay in supply the whole way. The other thing is, we're going to need to do that because this town looks like it's going to be a nightmare to get through. This valley blocked off by this town, and there's 2 broken bridges here, so that's going to slow our advance here. There's an intact bridge over here. They still might blow it. There's a blown bridge here, so they blew all the bridges along this thing to slow us down. Not much we can do about that. Okay, I think we're ready to move forward to the actual first turn. I know that we have trucks available. There are units on the map currently outside of the supply network. Hang on, maybe I missed that. Let's go back. Ah, then we do need to put at least 1 truck down. No, because this isn't a turn. It's not a turn advance. It's just the beginning of the game. We'll put the truck down before it becomes relevant. Yeah, these are all valuable. Okay. So, let's take a look at this. These guys can technically make it all the way here, and I could probably deploy, yes, those guys can be deployed into Toronto after I leave. So that's how we can get these 2 on turn 1. Bari is turn 2. We have to hold all of these supplies. If we ever lose them, we lose our theater supply support, which we found out last time was a big deal. So the question is, I think we take the airfield with this unit, and if I'm right and this is an armored unit coming in, then they can take Brindisi, because after they land, we've seen them be able to take it. So let's go with this. Oh, we found an enemy. Damn it. Well, then I don't know that we're going to be able to take this. There's only a 10% retreat chance, unless we use some bombings and some naval support, which I think we should probably do. But before we do that, let's see what happens with this unit. Oh, that is a much worse unit, actually. Airborne. It's an airborne brigade. That's what ABN stands for. Duh. Problem is, I think this is one of the units that got absolutely trashed in the previous battle, so they aren't doing too well. We're going to try to get this. Oh, they can get it. There's nobody guarding it. Excellent. So now we just have to hold it. We've got better supply situation now. So now is a point of view where we can finally talk about how combat works in more detail. So you can see, as I talked about before, units are composed of regular steps and specialist steps. The specialists are the icons there. So the way that combat works is you're looking for a total combat value of the attacker and a total combat value of the defender and comparing them to each other. So in this case, we have 6 steps, and if we're the attacker, we multiply it by the attack value, and if we're the defender, we multiply it by the defense value. So this unit's obviously better on defense than it is on attack. So it would be 6 times 3 is 18. Then each of these specialist steps, depending on what they are, can add to the attack or defense, but this isn't multiplied by the number of steps per se. It's just what that one step provides, right? So it is technically still done that. So the 17 pounder here on attack provides an extra 2. So that would bring us from 18 to 20. If there was another 17 pounder step here, then that would bring us to 22. So they still are a per step value. It's just that every single one of these green steps is a 3-4, and the quarter pounder, God damn it, I did it again. 17 pounder is a 2-6. So on defense, this would give an extra 6 steps. Now, towed units like this towed artillery and towed artillery and towed RT, those two things that are towed automatically suppress when you move because it takes them time to move and get set up. Once set up, then they provide their bonuses. And as long as they're in supply, they will unsuppress at the end of every turn. So that is something that is hurting us here. Is when we choose to attack this airfield, we're not actually going to be using any of our specialist steps. You can see they're suppressed, so we're only getting the flat 18. And so the ratio here is 18 to 4. And what that is actually used for, we'll pull this up and zoom in a little bit. So an attacker's combat value is the attack value times the number of steps. So you take that and reflect it as a ratio. So 18 to 4 is actually 6 to 1. So we are on the 3 to 1. I think you round down always. Defender's combat value times, ratio of the attacker to defense combat value determines the starting odds number as shown by the table. These odds are then further modified by shifts that account for influence of terrain, weather, experience, etc. So positive shifts in favor of the attacker and negative shifts in favor of the defender. So you can see that that's represented here. You've got the shifts, and the things on the right show what the defender is getting shifts for, and the thing on the left. So in our example here, coming back to this game, you can see that the defender gets 2 shifts here, one because they're entrenched, and another because they have better experience than our unit. They are elite, and our units are only veteran. So coming back to this, how do those shifts affect the odds number? So we're at 3 to 1. So we start at the 3 section of the chart, wherever the hell it is. Here it is. So we would start here in the 3 to 1 column, right? And shifts will move us left or right on this chart. So we're shifted down to the 1 column as our starting location. And then that determines what our odds are most likely to be. But then the game rolls some dice, and the actual final result can be anywhere between 2 to the left or 2 to the right of your final number. So in our case, it can be in the -1 column or all the way to the +3 column. So that way, those initial shifts, they significantly change the odds. If I remember correctly, that's exactly how all of this works. So that's how it determines losses. And the attacker loss table, we'd be playing on the classic level. So in our case, that's why it's estimating that we're going to lose 1 step. We could lose as many as 3, but I think the further out you go, the less likely it is. I don't remember if it even lists the exact percentage chances of... the odds number is randomized when combat actually happens to simulate the inherent uncertainty. Describes taking a random value generated from a normal Gaussian distribution centered on the odds number with a standard deviation of 1 and then rounding it. This means the randomized odds will always be within ±2 of the starting value. Every once in a while, outlier results will occur. Almost always be within ±2. So when I said before it was within ±2, almost always. You can get a massive success out of nowhere or a massive penalty out of nowhere. So that's what this is using to guess. It's probably going to be 1 loss for the attacker and 1 loss for the defender. And it's and the other thing that's being shown here is that these are shifts on the table, but there are also attacker loss shifts specifically that only shift the attacker losses and not defenders. And you'll see things like special forces will have attacker loss shifts in their favor because they're less likely to take damage because they know what they're doing. So That's how all this works. All that having been said, before we actually spend any resources here, let's find out what we're doing elsewhere in the map, because we do have naval bombardment available, and we have one air attack and a saturation strike, which is pretty freaking cool. And we could even spend cards to increase these. The B-26 bomber card will give us +1 per turn to air attack for the whole scenario, I believe. And the saturation strike gives us 1 use because they're so good. 1 use per turn of saturation strikes would be insane. So we have to take Salerno. What units do we have to take it? Well, these guys have M10s and artillery. That's not really going to help us on this amphibious invasion. These guys are at least veteran. These have engineers. Engineers reduce or remove the shift for an amphibious assault. So they are going to be my primary unit taking Salerno itself. The artillery specialist is not going to help at all in this. And then are these guys commandos are just specialist. They're not. These guys are amphibious specialists, the rangers. They've got rangers, and then they've got can we click? Oh, it's both rangers. Okay, that's why it's not doing anything. So the rangers are also amphibious specialists. It looks like they can only land in one place. So why don't we land them first? Doesn't really reveal anything much, and we can't go anywhere from here. So I think we definitely better use these engineers as our specialists. There wasn't anybody there to stop us, at least. Yeah, I think this is looking like the right thing to do. We get the other side of this bridgehead. Not quite the other side, but almost. There's nobody for us to fight here, so these landings in Salerno are actually going really well. And we don't even need to use any of our resources here until the counterattack inevitably happens. And here we have naval defensive fire that covers this entire perimeter, so that is perfect. We don't have to do any decision-making here. Now we've got to check the boot. We can get this if there's nobody guarding it. Hey, nobody's guarding it. So we've gained the commandos available to the British 8th HQ. It can drop that on any unit. These guys have Marines, which are great specialists. These guys don't have anything. Can these guys... Oh, what is this? Oh, that's transfer a step. They've got an upgraded force pool. So we could give these guys commandos so that they're actually effective, or maybe I just use these guys to help... No, you know what? I don't think you can give commandos to an... Oh, you can. We can actually give a Canadian armor step, too, because we have enough stuff left over at the HQ. Let's take a look at what's actually there. We have UK armor, but not UK infantry steps. Maybe I should have bought some with prestige at the beginning of the battle. I didn't think about that. That's too bad. I don't think I can add them now, though. These guys can't get across the river. I think the armor's going to want to go this direction, but that bridge is also broken. Can the HQ repair these bridges this turn? It can repair this bridge, and it can repair the other one if we get to it. Now, it doesn't mean it's activated this turn. You know what I think? I think I want the armor here, so that as soon as the bridge is repaired, it can try to rush across. And the infantry can go here, and we'll try to get that bridge repaired as well. So, let's see. We only have... Oh, we can repair both bridges. Oh, that's build a bridge. I guess you can't repair the non-rail bridges. Oh, I clicked bridge create. That's why. Don't want to spend creation. Because as I recall, the pontoon bridges are not as good as permanent bridges. They introduce some supply disruption. When you repair a bridge, it becomes passable the following enemy turn. I think pontoon bridges also become passable on the following enemy turn. Okay. I think that's as far as we can get with these, but we have to consider dropping a truck here. Oh no, because there's roads dispersing the supply. We don't need a truck yet. If we don't need one, let's not put one down, because we might have a better place to put it next turn. 70% supply, that's pretty good. Now, what about the supply situation over here? It's not going to get any better with trucks, because this guy's on a road, so he can get supply via that road. And supply, I think, is always... Oh, that's the other thing. An area directly adjacent to a railroad that's got a main supply center on it is also in supply, quote-unquote. So all that having been said, I think we can spend a resource to try to knock these guys out. Just a regular air attack. All right, that succeeded. And now, because we're 18-0, we're on the highest possible track. It was an overrun, which allows us to move forward and capture it. And we gained a free card. Another bomber asset. I think we should use the bomber asset this game, because it's free. Now, we can't use it this turn, but we'll be able to use it for the rest of the scenario. And we got that for capturing the airfield. Now, we don't have to hold the airfield anymore now that we've captured it, but obviously it's still going to be a good idea. So, Bari is the next thing we desperately want to take. And next turn, the U.S. Airborne become available. And we can deploy now the U.S. 5th HQ. And we have to deploy it into a... We could have put it into Napoli, but I don't think it's likely we'll get that right away. We've got only 8 turns to do this whole scenario. I just can't believe how much extra room there is up here for you to get extra points by getting... Look, we could, if we get to turn 8, we can take all these here. So, all right. Let's see. We don't have any other visible enemy units to bomb right now. Nobody else can move. Oh, these guys could actually move. Took some prisoners, so that because if those stragglers get back to an enemy HQ, they can be reconstituted as steps we have to fight again later. I'm a little concerned right now of somebody coming like up here. Okay, good news. There's nobody in this area here that's going to sneak in and grab Toronto out from behind us. Weak units have no Zoc. That's really annoying. All right. Now, their HQ is actually this HQ down here. So they basically have to link up. So I think the British are mainly pushing up to link up with the Americans and then push to Foggia while the Americans try to take Napoli. So the British, theoretically, once they get to here, they can kind of skip this coast. As long as there's no enemies there, and there won't be... They have a supply center here that can maybe reach out in this general. Like, if we look, this supply gets you all the way to this here. But I don't know how they have supply all... Oh, they have another supply center here. So this is being supplied from this railhead, which means if we take this side of the river, that supply dump doesn't work anymore, and a whole bunch of this gets cut off. And then we kind of can forget about this. They can't sneak around behind us if there's no supply there, theoretically. We'll see how that goes. Anyway, we've cycled everybody, so let's hit... trucks for the Americans and stuff. Let's make sure they are in supply. Americans are as in supply as they can be. Somebody's not in supply here, so we do need to put down a truck. Putting it here slightly lowers our throughput by 10%. If you put it on the rail line, you get the full percentage, whatever it is. Right now it's 70. If you put it on a road within 5 hexes of a rail line, then you get 10% less. Those are the only 2 places you can put it. Either on a railhead for full, or off the railhead for less. I think I want to put it where the unit is, because that's less likely to be taken. Now let's check. These guys are in supply. These guys are not in supply, which means we do also have to put a truck down here. So now they are in supply. These guys are in supply because they're just going to keep following the railroad, so they don't have to worry about trucks. These guys are all in supply, so we'll save the truck. There aren't any enemy units. Thank you for the reminder, though. I appreciate that the game doesn't let you make stupid... Whoa! The good news is, looks like... Yeah, we fought back with the advantage of the ship here. Thank God. That was a rough counterattack. As easy as the Salerno landings were, suddenly they were way worse. Like, holy moly. Alright. These guys missed out on supply. You know, they're in supply, but, you know, there's only 70% chance that they actually get supplied. 60% for these guys in the rough here. But now the bridges are complete. Why can't they go into that terrain? Why can't they follow the railroad? Mountainous terrain. Alright, we're going to pull up the manual one more time, because I got to understand how that works. I thought they'd be able to follow the railroad even into mountainous terrain. Combat unit movement. All movement along rail or roads cost 1 MP per hex. Each units that are not allowed to stop on a given hex can cross that hex using road or rail. Okay, roads on mountain and alpine hexes are not usable in snow. Okay, so that gives me a little bit of information. They can't stop in that hex. They can't stop in any of those mountain hexes. But if they go all the way through them, then they can. So let's send these guys first to start revealing enemy territory. I knew we'd have somebody there. I knew it. Now, the naval bombardment has to be a coastal hex, so that's not going to fly. Is this the time we spend our valuable saturation strike to punch through here so that the British can get up fast? Let's see how these guys fare moving. They've gotten pretty far. Alright, so good news is, so far there's nothing blocking this. Unfortunately, it looks like the armor can no longer make it reliably up to here because we know there's an enemy Zoc that would stop them moving through here. So that's disappointing. I think we saturation strike to clear this. Oh. Saturation strike hits a hex and adjacent hexes? Can damage units in adjacent hexes. Okay, let's just do a couple regular bombings then. Alright, now we can force them to retreat probably, or kill them. And now the armor can move right up through there. And it can even capture the supply dump, which resupplies those guys who hadn't been supplied before. These guys can't move. Alright, so over here we can definitely get some coastal support, but where? This armor is really strong. Somehow, though, wow, it's because we've got all, we're elite, and we've got all these special ops guys. Like, it's very unlikely that we'll lose a step. And yet, what's going on over here? Oh, that's rough. So let's use our naval bombardment here. Damn. Okay, that worked. Now we can rush them. 2 KIA and they're retreating. And if I rush up here, they won't be in supply and they will not recover. Yep, they are out of supply. So now if these guys just come and block them from coming back through... Crap. Wasn't quite what I expected. Yeah, you can see it's a huge difference between these guys attacking the enemy gets 2 veterancy shifts and a hill shift, and we have only 1 special forces. Man, the Rangers coming in, their attack isn't that much better, but the shifts are just, there's no enemy shifts there. And there's 2 enemy shifts here. So let's do this one and cross our fingers, because, oh god, if we lose a single step here, it's not great. Damn it! Well, now these guys can attack at a 1-to-1. Alright. These aren't great odds either. Nope, I don't think I want that, actually. Instead, let's do a feint attack to reduce their suppression value. I mean, we can get 1 hex closer to Naples. That seems like a good play. Now, what can we land? We can land the U.S. Airborne right there. Ah, okay. These guys can come this way, take some prisoners, and then do some more damage to this thoroughly defeated armor. 3 KIA. Boom. So now we've actually not only put them out of supply, but we've covered our flank. I'm worried about what these guys are going to do. We have... Yeah, we can't get across that damn bridge. That sucks. But we're going to move back here anyway, just in case. So they're done. Done. And we've got a couple of stragglers that are going to come back. We can reconstitute those back into forces. Now, over here, if we go straight for Bari, we can take it this turn. Take by turn 2. Oh, enemies are there. Oh, boy. No chance, because we used up all of our bombers and our naval strike for the turn. Can these guys get up there? Not really. I mean, they can do that, but that's not super helpful. We got to try to get Bari by this turn. I'm gonna play the other card and get 1 more bomber. Yes. Okay, we got it. Okay. So, I'm a little concerned about anything coming from this whole giant center section I can't see. And Toronto is our base of operations here. Everybody's in good supply. Now, down here, everybody's in good supply. Over here, everybody except these guys is in supply. So what we need is 1 more truck drop here that will let us distribute further inland. We really need more trucks. Are we going to get more trucks? Because I don't know how we're going to do this with only 3 trucks. 1 for each flank. Man, that's awful. And then the U.S., what do they have for deployables? Oh, they've got a bunch of people. Can't use the Free French. Can't use the armor because we don't have any infantry steps to go with it. We can add some 25-pounder to any British forces that are nearby, like these guys that are attached to us. So what do we need? A 25-pounder or a 17-pounder? We already have a 17-pounder. Let's add a 25-pounder to that group so they've got some artillery support as well. We can add a Sherman to any of these groups. Let's give it to these guys in the front line. And we'll give it to these guys. And finally, we can add a 105mm howitzer. Let's give this to the Rangers so they have at least 1 more step. We'll probably be able to reconstitute the step that retreated from them. Okay, so that's the Americans. They don't have anything else that they can distribute. Oh, actually they can distribute this There we go. So that unit's got a 17-pounder now. These we can't do. What about the British? Do the British have any that can be distributed? Yes, they can distribute commandos. To where? Commandos will reduce losses. So if we give that to the armor, that seems like the right thing to do. That'll help the armor avoid taking extra casualties. How do I rate this compared to Order of Battle or Panzer Corps? I've played Order of Battle, and it's like, man, I really liked it until I didn't. I don't even know how to explain that, but it's been a long time since I played it. But I guess a lot of it felt very repetitive. It feels like there's more... I'm going based off of memory. It feels like there's more units in that game than in this one. And you constantly have to do stuff with them. This one feels, I don't know, it feels better. I like it more, if I put it that way. Get even closer. I like this one better. Now, granted, I haven't finished it, but... and I played Order of Battle Pacific. And maybe it's just that I didn't like all the naval interactions in that game, because they could take so long, like hunting down an enemy ship, and then, oh, you moved, in the ocean and you found an enemy, but now you have no movement points left, so you can't do anything about it. Like, there were a lot of unsatisfying elements to that way that game mechanics worked. This is a ground-based combat system entirely made for ground-based. The fact that Order of Battle tried to fit ground and air and naval sort of into the same thing, instead of just having air and naval be assets that you use, I think that abstraction works really well for this. All right. Anyway, next, do we even go further? We can go 2 more. I gotta be real careful because the enemy can show up here. Next turn, the British armored shows up. Can they drop in Toronto? Maybe I have these guys go back to hold this flank while these guys advance up the main flank, because the enemy's supply in this place is non-existent. You can always see the enemy supply depot. So let's go. Let's keep going. Let's just, do it. These guys will come back and try to defend Toronto from an attack over here in the west. Let's see. Everybody's already done. I still have a saturation strike, but it turns out I should use that when I know where enemies are clustered. All right. So far, pretty perfect. We have an extra truck. Did we have 4 trucks? Maybe we gained 1 this turn and I didn't notice. Or... oh, it never actually put the one over here. So that's what I meant to do earlier. Okay, next turn. And now, Panzer Corps, I don't think I've ever played Panzer Corps, so I can't really compare it to that. Oh, you bastards. Whoa, they even had more armor. Now, their weak armor is out of supply and destroyable, but... crap. Oh, that wound up working really well. Oh, that didn't. Holy crap, because they're cornered. They're gone! Damn it. I gave that Panzer Grenadier group too much credit. Oh, the British armor would come right in there, huh? Because they're attached to the American. I think this is where we use our last naval bombardment, which is absolutely devastating. And there's no penalties due to terrain here. 3 suppressed. Suppressed. Do I maybe hit him with I think we hit him with 1 more. Oh, we even killed 1. Now we hit him there. An overrun is fantastic. Because it looks like we get to hit him again. 2 KIA. And an overrun. Look at that. We could technically go take those prisoners. Like, right now. We know there's an enemy there. Ooh, that's awful. Let's bomb it a couple of times. Now, they're in a city. It's less effective. Maybe we use the bombing here first. That did 2 suppression. That was good. Alright. We only did 1 damage, but 1's better than nothing. Alright, so that was good. Oh, these guys can surround them. Like, the armor's not going to get resupplied this turn. We don't have another truck to put down. Unless... Will this do it? No, because it's a river. Let's try an air attack there. Nothing. Damn it. We're just going to do some suppression attacks, some feint attacks to suppress them. If they don't wind up getting... and because they can still be supplied. From where? How are they being supplied? We cut off... Oh, I think that's right. Is that right? Supplies... Within 5 movement points of a railroad. So they're getting around this way. Through those mountains. Just barely. I'm not sure if I could be really concerned about something coming from that direction. This is a road. We should actually take this road up to this direction. That's not a terrible idea. The U.S. 5th. What does it have? We don't have any command points, but we still don't have any of that, huh? Alright. Well, this kind of went well this turn, but losing that division was disaster. I mean, we've still got 3 steps that can come back and be re-added to other units. Maybe we can give that to the Rangers. Alright, meanwhile... they're just going to make their way up here. Or they're just going to stay here for the moment. When this unit's destroyed and there's no longer supply flowing down here, which there technically isn't, then this unit's free. But I can't lose Toronto, so I'm going to leave them there while these guys continue to this bridge. It's very concerning not having anything in here, but that's the way it is. Now, we got some intel from capturing those prisoners. We now know where there's at least 2 enemies next to each other. I think it's time for a saturation strike. Oh, we can't do it into the fog of war. Oh, that's annoying. We're going to take our chances, aren't we? Can these guys back up? No. Next turn, I'll try backing them up and slamming something before we come back in to fight. All right. So that's these guys. Now down here... I think these guys are coming up this road. Technically, all this is not controlled by us, but what are the odds that something's hiding in there? Come on. And this truck is no longer useful, so we can get rid of this truck and move it somewhere else. The 8th HQ... excuse me, can be moved as well. I guess we can put it here. That's a bit of a risk in case there's somebody that comes out of the mountains, but what are the odds of that happening? They've got no supply up there. I just wanted to put it as far forward as possible. So now this armor didn't get supply last turn, but it'll get supply this turn. These guys can link up, and now we've got a full front pushing up the boot. Wait, this guy... Oh, he can keep going. There we go. Ah, he can guard that, actually. I didn't realize I hadn't moved him yet. Alright, I think that's the end. Oh god, I hope those Rangers can hang in there. Oh good, they retreated. So the US 5th had to spend 4 CP dealing with stragglers coming back to the HQ. So they don't have a lot to spend this turn, but next turn they'll be able to deploy some new steps that are available. So here... Can't do a set piece attack because we don't have command points. Damn it. We'll just have to... Can't do a pinning attack? Oh, suppressive fire we can do. We do have enough command points for that. But it won't even likely work. Oh, well that works. Alright, linked up. And now this truck is no longer necessary. So I think we're going to undeploy this truck, and we'll figure out if we need to put a truck somewhere else later. So this armor actually can get a little bit further up, because remember, the British are going towards Foggia here. The Americans were going to try to go here. So this is attached to the Americans, the British armored here, so they're actually going to head this way. Oh. Can't go any further because of enemy units up ahead that we would have to move into their direction. Okay. So even though there's a big pocket here where there technically could be enemy units, I don't think there are any. Oh, we found some prisoners though. We can kill them. Get some intel. Now, we've taken all the things we need to take. Everything else we have to take by turn 8. So, if we can get up to the Gustav Line or Tana, I think taking those, the A and B, that changes what options are available to us in the next section of the campaign. This isn't just a series of linked scenarios. It's a series of linked scenarios based on history that have optional different non-historical paths based on what happens in the actual games. So if we get to line to A, that opens up a different scenario than the historical one, and if we get to line B, that opens up another non-historical scenario. If we open up both of them, I think we get to choose between the two. So we'll see how all that works very soon. So now that these guys, we're going to go take the middle here. And they're still in supply. I just wish I had some of these guys had the recon, the armored cars, because if they did, then they would be able to take more terrain to the left and right of them as they moved forward. These guys are actually able to get right across the river. They found an enemy they can bomb and take out. Like, this is working incredibly well right now. Oh, they didn't die, though. I don't know, that won't do anything. Damn, I really wanted to take that city before they could reinforce it. That's super disappointing. All right. Now this turn, the British need to move up again. Is there anything they can do before that? Nope, I don't think so. So the British HQ needs to move up to here. Wouldn't be terrible. It's got a nice long range, too. Huh. So we've got another situation. Do we do a saturation strike on Naples right now before we move over there? I think we do. We've only got one more bomb to drop this turn, so I'm going to do it on Naples. Ugh, ineffective. And they're dead. Hey, look at that! We've taken it. We gained a new supply source. Salerno is no longer the only place. So now that we've done that, we need to try and grab... They've got 3 trucks there. But it's out of supply? Yeah, those trucks aren't in supply anymore. That's why it's red. Because we took Naples. That supply depot is no longer in supply. So if they try to get rid of those trucks, it's going to take them like 2 turns to come back. So that's good news. Let's stay right where we are. We don't want them to take that bridge. Oh, you've got some dudes here, huh? I kind of want these guys to go into the mountains south of that city. So they're going to go up here. Actually, they can move there. They'll move to the mountains next turn. Because these guys can move here, and the armor can try to come around this direction. Or maybe the other way around. Armor can go here. Infantry can go over there. They can use their artillery over the bridge. And you know what's interesting? Let me see if I can do this. I think this will work. I've done it before, and it's been very cool. But this is one of the first places where it would actually be really, really useful. Is it still booting up in the background here? Yes. Okay. So it's going to be like, something's wrong because you've already got something else working. Oh, no. Oh, I crashed it. Hold on a sec. Can I turn off game source in this thing? All right, we're going to reboot it. I forgot that Gamecaster would crash the game. Just like, I figured out what the problem was with XSplit. It was an issue with the game source. It looks like turning off DirectX 12 capture may have done what I wanted it to do. Nope, it did not. Okay, then those are hotkeys. I don't see any way. Game capture. I don't see any way to do what I wanted to do. Oh well, let's just go back to the game then. The thing I wanted to do is Gamecaster allows me to like draw on the screen, which is really cool. So I can kind of make some plans, but it's obviously something I'll have to troubleshoot later. So let's go back in here. I might have to redo that turn, unfortunately. Oh no, I'm save scumming. It'd be interesting to play these games against another player. Because they do have hot seat, so you can set it up. I might try that out sometime. Yeah, so I think we're going to have to redo those turns, unfortunately. So we did this, as I recall. We did that with the hope of suppressing him. It didn't work. We'd try one more. These guys, I'm going to have them go right up to here, because that's, oh boy, actually where I was going to do it eventually anyway. That worked out well. These guys can come secure this crossroads. Then I used a saturation strike on these guys, which was incredibly effective. Nowhere to run to, baby. Alright, and then these guys moved as far as they can. I think I'll move the US HQ up to Naples. We decided we didn't need this truck here. I might be able to get a way to get that Gamecaster thing working so I can draw on the screen, because I might want to do that. I think we don't need this truck over here. These guys are actually going to go right up to there. Good. These guys... British HQ is going to move as far as it can. We'll stop here, actually. Seems like an okay place to be. So their functions were suppressed, if you remember. That's the way that those things work, is they lost the ability to do level 2 operations and to do level 2 force pool actions, because when you move, I think you always lose operations and... Or no, you always lose intel and maybe one other random component. And we had moved last turn, so it's still recovering from that too. These guys got across the bridge, and we bombed this, but we didn't get it this time. So we're just going to wait here. Everything else is good. Do we have any new units to deploy? No, turn 5. Next turn we'll get some more guys to deploy. Those guys we moved up to here. They can't get any further. Wait a minute. Is that empty? Oh, it absolutely is empty. Oh, well, that made it easier. Okay, that's the end of the turn. Let's move on now. Yeah, well, hang on. Let's look at... We do need some trucks. The supply line to here is tenuous at the moment, so let's drop a truck right here. That's also dangerous. We can put it here. There's a road here. Okay, perfect. Now that gives supply everywhere over there, and everybody else is pretty much good. These guys are out of supply, but, you know, them's the breaks. You'll have to be out of supply for a turn. All you're doing is connecting up our insurgent areas. Okay, now we can go. Oh, they blew the bridges and replaced their HQ. I think we got them on the run, guys. One supply disrupted. Those guys in the middle there, huh? All right. Well, unit not in HQ range. Oh, this is a British unit, isn't it? No, it's an American. Oh, it's not in range because we need to link up. Thusly, now it'll probably be in range. Yeah, we could do a set-piece attack, but really all we need is a suppression. So that these guys can move across and attack. 3 KIA. All right. So they've pushed way forward. How's their supply situation? They're still okay. The trucks are no longer required over there, so we can actually take that truck out. We've got 2 we can play this turn. So these guys have artillery, so they could do a suppressive. They can't because they don't have an HQ in range. Huh. I guess we gotta bomb it. Or not. Huh. These guys don't have their HQ in range either because they're American. Ah. I need these guys up there, actually. And I mean, we'll get them up as far as we can, but I guess we got to do the 1-1 attack first. All right, we didn't even get their... Yeah. I think we're just going to wait. Oh, we can... Ah, the armor can come do 1-1. Damn, they are holding that. I needed a set-piece attack to remove those entrenchments, but it's rough. All right, the American one didn't move this turn, but its force pool is still suppressed, so we can't deploy those guys we got. But we can deploy... The British only have that one place they can come in, it looks like. So that's where they're coming in. But man, who are these guys? The German Luftwaffe. They held that really good. Oh. Ah. We found out that there are too many stragglers here. So that's what the 3 lines indicate, that it would take 3 movement points to move in there, and these units don't have that yet. So we're actually going to fall back and protect these stragglers. These guys were out of supply last turn, but they're going to connect this road. Now they're going to be in supply. Those guys... All right. Oh, Naples can go... Can't quite get there. See, these damn Panzer Grenadiers, they're tricksy. They could run around me if I go up to here. I need to hold Naples. I'm not going to maneuver anybody out of there. Now, if I could be capable of doing this, that's still good. So these 2 units I've kind of set to help over there, but they really shouldn't. They should all be focused on this side of this river. The British should be the ones pushing up this side, but it is what it is. I kind of forced them that way. The British are just way behind over here. If we had that card that gave us the trucks, that could be very valuable. Okay. Who else is not? Yeah, I don't want to move forward with them. I just don't. It's too risky. I can't let them sneak behind me. Some maps are outside of the supply network. Who is outside of supply? Oh, these guys here and here. That's what the diamonds mean. Okay, well, we just happen to have 2 trucks. That would do it. And then we can put another truck right here. Cover that flank. And everybody else is in supply. We'll get 1 more truck back next turn. Turns out the 3 trucks is all I need, just because there's so many railways here. Ooh, 3 KIA. That was awful. Those Panzer Grenadiers. They're super strong. We're going to bomb them to hell is what we're going to do. Get out of my town! For farg's sake. So I'm going to have, what were the 2 American attached over there? Yeah. So what we're going to do is have this armor and this infantry push over this bridge and try to come around behind these guys. Because those two Panzer Grenadiers are going to give us a hell of a problem. They have 8 attack. That's better than pretty much everything we've got. And we can't entrench. And they blew these bridges. So that's our best bet, is to flank them and cut off their own supply. Not that we have the turns to do that, but it's better than no idea at all. Okay, that helped. Ooh, it's still awful. Like, can these guys at least do a pinning attack? Yes. They can't do artillery, but they can do a pin. These guys can't do a pin because we don't have enough command points anymore, but at least these guys can attack and maybe do a damage point. Okay, we just got suppressed. We didn't get damaged. That's good. Now, we can deploy some infantry here. So U.S. infantry. Actually, do we have armor? We have U.S. armor steps, but we don't have U.S. armored units. Only armored units that we have are the attached British armor. Even the ones that look like Shermans are actually Canadian. So that's too bad. So we can't deploy any American armor steps. We can deploy the American infantry steps. Give more to those guys there. And an extra step to these guys because they're useless right now. And it looked like we also have UK infantry. Alright, so when those guys get improved, when they get supplied next turn, they'll be much more effective. Then we'll also have artillery here and here, both of which can suppress anything in this area, and then we can maybe make some attempt to push. These guys will probably back off, but these guys are now going to do their aforementioned... Ooh, they can actually flank this way. They can't attack... Oh, they can. Oh. They can't go any further. Neither can those guys. But we now have somebody on the other side of the river. Screw you bastards. This guy can't retreat now. I think. No, he can retreat through this space because it's on the other side of a river, so there's no Zoc extended into there. Damn it. Alright, anyway. Who else hasn't moved? Oh, these guys can attack. Even suppressed, the enemy still has that big a chance? Because it's ruins? And because it's they've got experience. Even when they're suppressed, they're going to do a hit back at us. Well, let's take it. We're going to take it. Because they're not going to be suppressed all the time. These guys... I would like to take this supply depot, but they're not going to make it there in time. These are the ones attached to the American side. I mean, we're making such progress. The British HQ can barely keep up at all. I mean, we're putting it right up to here. And then hopefully we won't have to move it for a long time. These guys are useless anyway. I'm going to help fix the border gore. Okay, I think we're ready for the next turn. So we've got 2 more turns, turn 7 and turn 8, to try to grab the Gustav line or Etana. Oh, okay, cancel. Hold on. I forgot we have the Indian Infantry Division, which comes in over here. Damn, I wish we had some mechanized forces here. And now it also said there was somebody that was out of supply. Or at least it implied that. These guys over here. They can be out of supply. We're fine. We'll save the truck for when we truly need it. Oh boy, they got reinforced? Oh, come on. I mean, I just got reinforcements too, so... You know. But the good news is they're gonna get boned here. They're gonna be completely surrounded in a second. So, do we artillery strike here? I think so. Wow, we got 3. We got lucky. Oh, no, I want to do a follow-up attack. Those bastards. Suppressive fire won't even suppress them? Why not? Because of the terrain, probably. Cornered, so they took extra losses. Jesus, those guys are strong. So for supplies now, those guys still have it because of these trucks here, it looks like. These guys are out of supply, though, and they can't get back in. So we'll have to put down a truck for that armor. Yep, that'll do. I'd have preferred a different option, but that's the way it wound up working for us. This no longer supplies anything of any importance. Everything that can be supplied by this is already supplied by the railways, so let's get rid of that. And over here, what's standing between us and this? A lot of bridges that didn't get blown. Wow. We got it! Just like that. That was easier than I expected. But we have to hold it, if I remember correctly. So we've got to control the bridges across these rivers. Specifically, as long as these guys are controlling their area, we should be okay. But we can't let anything get behind us to cut these supplies. Should we be worried about sneaky enemies hiding over here? Probably not. So the British 8th is probably just going to stay where it is. Does it have anything to drop? No. How about the Americans? No, because we don't have any Free French fighting here. Oh, I can still hit this guy, huh? Yeah, kill him. Get some XP. That'll lets these guys move forward. Ah, and then we can build a bridge. Or repair a bridge, even. There we go. Now that'll be ready for next turn for everybody to cross. And then we're getting pretty close to the Gustav line here. We can actually cross this now. If we do, supplies might be a problem. No, it's okay. We're able to get supplies just across the river. I don't think we'd be able to get supplies any further. All right, that's everybody. So we've got one more turn to take the Gustav line and to make sure we hold the other one. Oh, there's air attacks available. Thank you for letting me know. We've wiped him out at this point. Hey, Magpie. Sorry, I don't have any special bots you can talk to in Twitch. If it makes you feel better, there's not really anybody talking in YouTube either. Oh, no. They've got a deeply entrenched infantry division guarding a bridge. That's a nightmare. And taking this northern route doesn't do anything for us right now, Casino doesn't help. It's not an objective. And it doesn't get us around behind them because there's still rivers there. And more importantly, ugh. Just ugh. I wish we had, like... Oh, we do have priests. So these guys could come over here and, like, artillery strike. Could they move afterwards? I don't remember. No, because they're moving into an enemy zone of control. So I doubt they can move again. Here's what I'm going to try. I'm going to try bombing this thing 3 times. Nope. It's only a 1. A 1-1. Nobody's really got a chance of taking that. So I don't think we should try. Because honestly, we're just going to lose steps doing that that could be useful in a later combat. Know what I mean? Making sure there's nothing over there. It's gonna take our stuff, man. Take more territory. It's good for us. Yeah, we're just gonna hit end turn. Yeah, we got trucks, but we already won the scenario, so quiet down. Fall of fascist regime in Italy. We got a special award. And we took all the primary objectives on time. If you don't take the objectives on time, you lose score. That's what you're playing for there. So let's see what the new campaign looks like. So if you look at Avalanche, taking these objectives will improve your starting situation for the following scenarios. Ortana and Breach Gustav Line. So I don't know where Ortana is. Gustav Line is actually up here somewhere, if I remember correctly. So I'm not sure, but that's what those... So maybe it didn't change the scenario. Let me see. I got it over here somewhere. Unity of command. Mission. Graphic. There it is. It is in here. This was this May 13th. That's exactly it. Perfect. Copy image address. Just show us the image. Bingo. Let's put this over here. There's the chart. Now everybody can see it. So this shows you the historical track is the white track. We're over here in the Italian campaign. This is the French campaign. And then certain things will cause you to have Operation Unthinkable, which is a fight against the Russians over here, which is kind of interesting, potentially. So it looks like, for the game purposes, U.S. 2nd Corps, 7th, and 5th are treated as one HQ. This is an intentional simplification, just letting us know about that. So all of these, including Avalanche, which is the one we just did, that doesn't change anything. We're about to do the Volonturno line. When you get to Monte Cassino, taking Monte Cassino or Rome objectives means skipping the 4th casino entirely. So if you fail to get those bonus objectives in the Monte Cassino level, that's when you go on the historical track. But if you take them, you go down a different track. So the objectives that we took in Avalanche don't have anything to do with branching paths. It just was going to make our life easier in future scenarios. And that's what it was saying here. In following scenarios, not the following scenario. So because we took Ortana, theoretically, something good is going to happen. Maybe in this one here. Hard to say for sure. Taking those bonus objectives will improve the starting situation in following scenarios. So, this line, the Germans managed to establish a stable front called the Volturno Line. This is the first of many such prepared defensive lines the Allies will have to breach on their drive north. Combined with ever-worsening weather, the Italian campaign is beginning to resemble the last Great War. So we won't have another conference until after Monte Cassino. And then we'll be able to upgrade our HQs some more with the prestige that we've gained. And that means what I'm going to do is buy some reinforcements at the beginning of the Volturno line. It'll probably make things easier. But until then, that is going to be it for me for today. We'll see you again tomorrow at 10:30 Eastern Time. Have a good one, everybody.